Hello makers, welcome to Always Yarn First, a podcast about knitting, crochet, spinning, and all the yarny goodness in between. I'm Lindsay and I'm coming to you from Little Rock, Arkansas. And as always, you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Always Yarn First. Before we get into it, a few admin things is I have two make-alongs currently going that end this month. The hashtag nothing but double is the make-along with my friend Lori and I that we are making blankets with yarn held double. Then the hashtag stripe along 2023 is a make-along I'm doing with Kimbers Cozy Creation, Amy from Happy Little Yarn, and Jesselyn Janice. And obviously anything stripey goes for that. There is a finished objects thread on my Ravelry that we will be pulling grand prizes after the make-along is finished the end of December for that one. Also, just a side note, yesterday my family and I were walking our dogs and we smelled natural gas in the neighborhood. My husband called it in. They found a leak not in around our house, but we're about one house away from a pretty busy throughway, and it's like the house across the street from that they were digging all night. They are still currently working out there. They have brought more trucks and are now digging in our next door neighbor. So it's been pretty quiet the last couple hours, so I'm hoping we can get through this podcast and it remains quiet. But if you hear beeping of trucks, anything like that, that's what it is. It cannot be helped. But they have seemed to already dug the holes and they're working in there. So hopefully we won't have any problems. All right. So if you are new here, welcome. I hope you will stick around. Every podcast I name after a song title because Before My Love of Yarn was my love of music. So this week I chose the song Spinning the Wheel by George Michael. One, I thought the song wasn't appropriate because I've been doing a lot of spinning. And two, I just watched the Wham documentary, and so I went down a deep dive again of George Michael songs because I love him. So super interesting. I've really been into documentaries lately. I don't know why. So you will find a Spotify playlist to all the songs I've used on my podcast, linked down below. All right, so what we're going to be going through today is finished object, cast-ons, whips, spinning. I have a podcast highlight, acquisitions, and goals. So I will put timestamps to each of those below so that you can feel free to skip around if you like. I am wearing a hand knit today and a hand crochet. This hand knit is the Rocket Tee by Tesselated of Tana's Fiber Arts. This is my favorite t-shirt I have. I have sworn that I wanted to make a bunch more. Hasn't happened yet, although I did make the DK version. So any information, I have my Ravelry page linked below. This one, my daughter crocheted for me. I don't remember the name of it. It's out of cotton yarn. She had made one for herself, and I asked if she would be willing to make me one, and I love it. It is cozy for around the house. So that is not one that I made. All right, so I have one finished object, which when I was looking over my notes for this podcast today, I was surprised because I thought this was finished last time, but I actually finished it right after the podcast, which is my Pure Joy shawl. I did this for the Hohi Fall knit along, and I got it done before the end of November. Yay! So we're just going to have all of the hand makes on today. There we go. I did use the variegated is Teenybutton Studio in the colorway Island Getaway. And this one is Homestead Fibers in the colorway Paul. So yeah, very happy with that. And happy that I had a finished object. So that is all my finished objects. So I do have some new cast-ons. So let's go how I have them here. So pretty much all, well, not all of them, I won't say that, is for December Advent making. So the first one is my Woolens Nosh, and you can see I have fiber all over because this is close to where I've spun. So, and let's see, I've been filming the vlog 2 days ahead, but today's Friday, so this will actually be through Sunday's color. So if you're watching this as soon as it goes up, then this is not spoiling it for you. But, oh, I love this color so far. So good. Love the greens and blues. And here is the other one, just to show that I have 2 socks. I had done this part this morning. This is my first year ever doing an Advent sock. So I'm really enjoying it because it's only a couple rows of each color, so it goes so fast. Like before I'm done with my first cup of coffee, I'm done with my socks. So it's been awesome. Really been enjoying that. And I was saying on my recording for vlog today that the texture, I don't think I've ever used Woolens Nosh before. The texture is, I don't want to say rustic. It's not scratchy. It's not soft though. It's hardy, like is I guess the word I would think for it. So this is 90% Targhee, 10% nylon, I believe. And even though it's not the same base, this really reminds me of the feel of Patton's Croy socks, which I love, which again is hardy. It's not super soft, but it's like you can be rough with them socks and they're good. One of my favorite pairs of socks is a Patton's Croy sock, and it looks still like a new sock. The shape of it is just fantastic. So I'm really enjoying this base. We'll see how it wears, but I really like them. All right, the next thing I cast on, well, not the next thing. These are not in order. And let's see. This one I just cast on a few days ago. So this is going to be part of my acquisition stash enhancements. This is in a Mrs. Brown's bags. And so Arkansas Yarn Co. has started carrying Urth yarn. I think the last time I showed you the self-striping socks that I had gotten. But now they have gotten in this, which is called Spiral Grain. So you can see it's very reminiscent of Spin Cycle. So I knew I wanted to use it for something, but I didn't know. These come in 50 gram skeins. I didn't know what to use it. Lori is making a hat. I think she's making the Alpine Bloom hat with hers. So I decided, oh, I've been wanting to make a pressed flowers hat because Casey from Young Folk Knits is co-hosting a I Can Buy Myself Flowers cal for any of the pressed flowers patterns, and that goes till the end of January. So I picked up a skein of the Urth Harvest DK, and then this is sport weight, the Spiral Grain. Lori is carrying it in the sport weight and the worsted weight. So I have done the ribbing. I've barely gotten into the Spiral Grain. There's like an intro kind of rows there, and I'm just getting into the flower. So, but I needed something the other day with focusing on like Advent December vlog projects. I needed something for me. So I cast this on, and then I was kind of like running through, there's quite a bit of ribbing, and I was running through that quickly because I wanted to get to the fun part. So yeah, I hope to spend some more time with this later today. And that pattern is by Amy Christoffers, and I already told you the yarn. The Harvest DK, the color is Cosmic Purple Carrot. The Spiral Grain I chose was the colorway Weeping Willow. All right, sorry if I seem rushed today. Like I'm confused with all the vlog video I've been doing. Like, I feel like I've already shown these things, but I haven't. And we're having company over for dinner tonight, and I was up way too early this morning, so I need a nap this afternoon. So immediately after this, that's what's coming. All right, so the next thing I cast on specifically for December is in, it is in this bag. It is by the Bay Bag Co. And this is the Snow Matter What pattern by Imagined Landscapes. I had bought a kit from Arkansas Yarn Co. There's 3, here's 4. Now, this is kind of hard to show. This is my first time making a small, like, amigurumi, whatever. I had sworn off, like, toy making years ago, but I decided to give it a try this year. So, and this is a mystery. So, every day in the month of December, you log on. But as of today, which is the 8th, there's only been knitting every other day, which has been great. Because some days I just don't want to do it. So I always get caught up, though, by the next day. Uh-oh. I dropped something. Please hold. All right. So, and, you know, you're not told what exactly you're making the pieces. Oh, my goodness. Seriously. It's that kind of episode. All right. So you're not told what the pieces are. You're just told to make them. Now I'm getting hot. So I'll show you what I have, but a lot of these, I don't know what it is. Now these 2 pieces were the first 2, and I need to weave in my ends. It straight up will tell you when you need to weave in your end or when you leave a tail because you will reuse it, which I think is super helpful. These ones I need to weave in. So I think this was like day 1. And then these things were another day, along with this little thing. No clue. So the last 2 knitting ones, which I just caught up today. Today was technically a story day. But does it look like something now? So this hat was the last time. And since you're going to stuff it, it kind of looks like a bucket hat. I'm thinking of like the old 80s Kangol hat, if you remember those. But really, it's going to be a top hat. Come on. So, and then today I picked up stitches and did this. And it actually, I'm done. But this is the first one it said to leave the stitches on the needles. So evidently we're going to pick up from here. So I'm excited because this is the first day where like, okay, it actually looks like something. So I am using needles I had gotten from Arkansas Yarn Co. This little pack of Chowgoo. I have shown when I purchased them, but just a reminder. This is like the mini set. So here's the needles it comes with. So I'm using 1.5s. And it comes with a 0 to a 3 in 2 different sizes. So here I'm pulling out the size 1, and you can see the difference in size here. So, but it's quite a few needles in here. It comes with these, but Lori had told me that she preferred having a 32-inch cable, so she had them in stock, so I bought the 32-inch cable. If you're ordering these from somewhere, make sure it says the Chowgoo mini cables to fit on these. My regular set of Chowgoos is the small, and the really big sizes are the large cables. So that is where we're at with here. I'm sticking with it, but I'm really enjoying that the knitting is every other day because I feel like it would have been too much for my brain if I had to keep up with it. Because sometimes just those little needles, I just don't want to mess with them. So that is, and the kit I had bought was the Ice Baby kit. All right, so that is all of my newest cast-ons. So let's get into whips. All right, the first thing I have is a half object, and it's on my fancy foot here. So this is the Totally Tesselated Socks by Andrea Mowry. I used a Schoppel wool Zauberball crazy color. That is this color you see here. It changes colors. And it is in colorway number 2204. The blue that you see here is from Treasure Goddess. It's her yak sock, and it's in the colorway Far Horizon. And then it's kind of hard to see, but you can kind of see the light blue halo running through. That is Valley Yarn's Southampton base. So it's mohair, and that is in the colorway 016. So, again, I don't remember if it's vlogging or here that I talked about it, but these socks, and I've done mosaic knitting, and I like mosaic knitting, but the three colorways, especially one being mohair, you know, which just wants to like attach itself to anything it's next to, was a pain. I found it a pain in the butt to work these socks. And I work the shorty socks because that's my preference, so I did not do very tall, hot socks. I just had such a hard time with yarn management. I could only work on this at my desk, where I would, every time I changed a color, I would kind of move where they are on my desk, and I'd have to unattach the mohair from sticking to whatever it was next to, because I didn't want to have to deal with that later down the line when it was all in the mix. So every couple of rows, I had to detangle it, move the yarns around. It was just a pain. So my goal was to finish this one this month and not even think about it till the new year. And so that's where we're at. Love how it looks. Love it. And my daughter actually tried it on and loves the sock. And so she's like, oh, I want this pair because we wear the same size. And I'm like, okay, but it's going to be a while because I need a break from it. So yeah. I think that's all I have to say about those. That's not in a bag. So the other socks I've been working on, I have been working a little bit on this, which I actually need to work on because it's one of my goals, which we'll talk about a little bit. This is my sock 2 of my design, which is on the other fancy foot here. This is my pattern, Boots with the Fern. It is not out yet. That's why I want to finish my second sock. It is currently in test knitting, and a few people have finished already, have said that it fits great. So I'm super excited, but I want to finish my socks so that I could take some decent pictures of them. Yeah, so here is where it is. It is a toe-up sock. That's why it's pretty boring where I'm at here, because not much to look at. But unfortunately, my other pair of vanilla knitting, well, not unfortunately, I'm only giving myself a deadline, a self-induced deadline. So I'm moving this up now. But once I get past the heel on the texture, they'll fly because it's so much fun and it just is so intuitive that I'm not worried about it. It's just the foot that's boring. So those will get done. And this is just in a little Arkansas Yarn Co. bag that Lori had gifted me last year that they made. All right, so the other sock, this one has been worked on more. This has kind of been my vanilla go-to sock this month. This has stayed in my purse. Again, I'm on sock 2. So here is sock 1. That is an afterthought heel. So I have been laying it flat here to see how much further I need to go. So I'm almost there. But this is, first of all, in a bag from Trappings and Trinkets. And then these are just vanilla, no pattern. This is from Kimbers Cozy Creation. This was a colorway she made specially for our Stripe Along 2023. And this is called My Fall Valentine. So pretty. The pink I used for heel, toes, and cuffs was just rest of one I had in my stash. I know it was from Hey Sister Yarn Co., who is no longer in business, but I can't tell you the colorway. So yeah, my goal is to try to get this done again, just to get some of these single socks off. I have ideas for some socks. If you watched the December unboxing video on my channel for the Arkansas Yarn Co. Sock Yarn Society, we talked about next year how Lori is doing a year of tonals, and I will not be making a blanket with them, but instead be focusing on sock designing. So not necessarily every month, but take advantage of those tonals where you can see the patterns and work on some sock ideas I have. So super excited that, which means I will kind of want to get these single socks off my needles. So yeah, but who doesn't love a vanilla self-striping yarn? So yeah, that is, oh, no, it's not. One more whip. You've seen it a million times, but here it is in my Tanny Casey bag. And it's my lace and fade. Again, on my list to try to get done this month. We'll see if it happens. I am in the ribbing of the body still. In fact, I don't even know how much progress really. Oh, it's inside out for some reason. That looks better. So, I think this marker isn't right. I'm pretty sure I had started the ribbing last time I showed it, but you can see the marker here. But here I am in the ribbing, and I'm pretty sure, let me count real quick. I have 2 more rows of ribbing before I bind off. So I am for real almost done with this body. I need to work on it. Then I will probably go ahead and finish the neckline, and then look at the yarn I have left, which I will give you an update here. Here's what I have, and see how much knitting I have left on the sleeves, and then I'll be done. And I can wear it. So I'm excited. I'm super excited to get off the needles because y'all know this has been on there for a while. But again, that's one of my goals, which we will talk about shortly. So that is all the whips I have currently worked on in the last 2 weeks. So let's get in a little bit of spinning talk. So the spinning I have been doing has been all Advent. I had bought a fiber Advent this year from Fiber Nymph Dye Works. I had never gotten their fiber before. In fact, I've never gotten their yarn before. They have yarn too. And when I was determined to get a fiber Advent, and hers was Lord of the Rings theme. And I thought, ooh, those are going to be earthy tones that all work together that I can spin every day in order and not, worry about it so much. So I'm not going to show you all of it, but I will show you, I finished bobbin 1. So here is where I'm at. So this is the first 6 days of Advent. So you can see there's different darker colors over here, but it has been going together, I think, really beautifully. This is all mixed BFL silk. So it is the same type of fiber every single day. It's just dyed differently. And she's had a little bit of story that you read every day when you open it. And I've kept them all. I read them on my, I'm doing barely a vlog that I'm posting on my Instagram Reels every day. A lot of times it's just, okay, here's my colors. And then at the end of the day, here's what I finished. Because that's about what I have energy for. Today, actually, Friday vlog, actually, I talk a little bit. I was finishing these socks, and I walk through how to remember the Kitchener stitch, and I show you all of my hand spun I get on the table. So if that interests you to see, I was planning for a night shift shawl by Andrea Mowry. So if you'd like to see all my hand spun, definitely check out day 8 vlog. So yeah, I'm really happy with this. Day 6, like I said, I'm recording vlogs 2 days in advance just in case editing or something comes up. I don't feel stressed about it. So today is Friday, which means I'm opening day 10. That's why I can't show you these. But I'm really happy. So I've gotten, and it's a 24-day mini. So I just will have 24 days. So I will have 4 bobbins full. All right, so that is all the spinning I have today. All right, so real quick before we get into acquisitions and then goals, I want to mention one podcast highlight. So I just watched her this morning. I had subscribed to her, and when I started watching it this morning, she was like, oh, it's been a year. So I had to look back and be like, what? So the podcast is With Yarn in Front. And it is Erica. She is in Colorado, and she said her last podcast was November of last year. And so the one I watched this morning, she recorded 3 weeks ago, which was in November of this year. And she goes into talk about a wild ride of things that just happened to her this year. But she is wonderful, and she wants to come back regularly. So definitely, if you haven't heard from her, check her out. But if that sounds familiar, go on and make sure that you watch her newest podcast. Okay, buckle in. We're about to do acquisitions and then goals. So when I was looking at this acquisitions and goals, I was like, oh, wasn't it cute? I think I remember in maybe September, I'm like, okay, I have a few more acquisitions, yarn in then out. If I don't buy any more yarn this year, then, the amount that I use and gift and give away and stuff will, I think, still even out. Yeah, that Lindsay has flown the coop out the window. So I always keep this clear bag I had gotten at the Modern Skein hanging on the wall by my desk. So I always, when I get something new, I put it in there, unless I cast on immediately like I did with my hat. So I know I need to talk about it for a podcast. This bag is pretty well full. So, yeah. And I'm not even mad about it. Things happen. Goals change. I am going to continue in the new year to track my yarn in and out because I think it's interesting. Stats, like how much are you getting compared to, and a lot of it we have good intentions for, a lot of things I buy I am going to make this thing and I want to cast that on. But then something happens, either one, the cast on, you're like, oh, that did not work for me, so it's going to my stash back. Or, something new and shiny comes, so you cast on something else. So it happens. It's fine. I mean, I definitely don't want it to get out of control, but I'm okay with where we're at. So let's get into the fun goodies I got. So again, I feel like I've talked about these, but it's probably because as I've been getting these, I've been showing them on my vlog. So Arkansas Yarn Co. I'd already mentioned the Urth Harvest DK and one of the spiral grains I got that I'm working my hat. I picked up one more spiral grain because when I was there, I was actually helping tag them so they could get them up on the shelf. So I was touching every single one of these. And I'm like, oh, and this color. Oh, and this color. Well, if you know me at all, this one is blue and orange, which is my jam. I had to get this. I have no clue what it's going to be. But it's just going to be motivation to use it. I had thought about, making a hat out of this, but I knew for this to pop, it would have to be a really light color hat for this to work, and I didn't want a light color main color. I wanted a dark main color with a lighter flowers popping out. So this is just going in the stash. And then there's two things that Lori specialty dyed for me. We have a little yarn chat between friends, the girls there. And we were talking a new pattern that was coming out from Tristan of Dragon Horde Yarns. Then she got sick, and I think some things got, pushed back. And I still don't think this pattern is on Ravelry. It may be, but I know it was called Court of Foxes, and it is a cable hat using a skein of DK. And so we were talking on our chat. I'm like, oh, I really want to make that hat. And at that point, I had already told Lori, I'm like, I feel like I want a new hat for the season. So she was like, what color do you want it in? And so we had talked about having the tweed yarn. So this is the one I did. Our friend Christy also was talking about that hat. And so she picked a color. But when I went in, I got to see all of the tweed colors that she dyed up for it. And this is actually not the one she dyed up for me. The one she dyed up for me was like this, but yellower. And I'm like, I kind of like this one better. She's like, you can pick whichever one you want. So this is the one I picked. It does not even have a color name. So, and then the other thing is Lori carries a few bases at her store that she doesn't always have dyed up. It's the benefit of, being an employee there, knowing those bases. But one of them that she had gotten, so I had talked about this blue yarn in here. This is from Treasure Goddess, and that is how I was first introduced to Yak sock base, which is amazing. And I remember at the time I went on and on and on to Lori about that base. And she's like, well, I have some of that base. But she had never, I don't know if she'd ever dyed it up at that point because I don't remember ever seeing it in the store. And I was working on these socks with Christine, Treasure Goddess's yarn. And I told Lori, I said, I'd really like to make my husband another pair of socks because he's been wearing his hand-knit socks. And I'm like, I kind of want to make him a toe-up sock with the Yak base. Do you have any dye that I knew I was coming that weekend? And I said, I would love to pick up one if you have any dye. And she's like, no, but I'll have time. I can dye something today. And she's like, what do you want? And I'm like, I'm not really picky. A boy color. I'm like, just a navy would be fine. And so she dyed this up. Doesn't have a tag. It's just Yak sock. And sometimes she makes cutesy names up when she's ringing me out. She called this one Ryan's Knot in the Navy because she has, I think, a color in the navy. And this, I think, is pretty similar to it. So that is my Arkansas Yarn Co. haul. All right. Then, again, I don't know if these are in order, but I think I had mentioned on here that I had decided that next year, I'm already doing more socks for with the Year of Tonals yarn that I want to use for sock designs. So I already know socks is very much a huge agenda for me in 2024. But Susan of Desert Vista Dye Works, she has been doing, next year I think will be her 10th year, where she hosts a knit along where you have to use a skein of her yarn and knit a full adult size pair of socks with it. And you basically, there's a couple different ways to do it, Instagram way or a Ravelry way. I do it on Ravelry where I post a picture of it before, and then at the end of the month, I post the picture after of the completed socks. And you can earn things throughout the year. So I didn't do it the last 2 years, maybe? Was it 3 years ago? I had done a year of it. I did it for the whole year. And I think like if you do the first 3 months, you get a discount code in her store. If you do it for 6 months, you get a free skein of yarn of your choice from her store. Then again, if you do it 9 months, another discount code. And if you do it for the whole year, you get another free skein of yarn, which if you choose to, she always specialty dyes a color that are only for those who finish the 1-year challenge. So she announced that next year was going to be her last year doing it. So I decided, I'm like, yeah, I am in a sock frame of mind, so I'm going to do it. Well, she hand dyes her self-striping, which already takes longer, as she gets orders. So usually when you order from her, it takes a little extra time, which means you need to order in advance. So actually this order I got super fast. I was surprised, especially being like holiday season. But I ordered 3 skeins of yarn from her website, and then I went on to Ravelry and seen if there was any colors I liked and anybody destashing, and I got 2 more skeins. So I have 5 colors, so I'm set for a while. So here's what I ordered from Desert Vista Dye Works. So this one is Little Woman. This one is Camels in the Desert. And this one is No Shade November. This one, I'm pretty sure I knit this one the last time I did this make-along. I just love this color. And because I have so many socks on the agenda this year, I've started making a running list of all my friends' shoe sizes. And I said, don't ask me when you're getting socks, but I'm going to be making a lot of socks next year. So, you know, since I have your shoe size, socks may be coming your way. All right, so then the 2 I got in D-Stash. These are the old tags. So this one is Carrot Cake. And this one is Strawberry Shortcake. So I am excited about that, especially because right now I'm loving those Woolens Nosh self-striping. So I may do something similar next year. I can knit 2 at a time socks. I just don't enjoy it. But I may do kind of like what I'm doing with Woolens Nosh and do like tandem socks. That seems super enjoyable, and you're getting them done at the same time. I've never done that. I usually knit one and then knit the other, and I don't, for most socks, unless it's like not fitting well or something like that, I usually don't have a problem casting on the second one and finishing it. So another exciting thing about sock related, while we're talking socks here. So sock design coming up, Desert Vista Dye Works sock along, and Lori is planning something special regarding socks to do a monthly class of different heels every month next year. So you can basically find your perfect heel, which is super exciting. So I love that idea so much. So I won't go into details of what we discussed so far, but definitely be looking for that if you are semi-local and you are into socks but you haven't found that perfect heel, or you want to try something different. Definitely keep an eye out on Arkansas Yarn Co. Instagram, or when they have their podcast next, probably, where she will talk more about that, because it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so one more purchase, and I had sworn I wasn't going to get sucked into any Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday deals. And then my friend Maureen from Charming You put on Instagram that all in-stock yarn she was doing 50% off with free shipping. That is crazy. Crazy, Maureen. Y'all know I already love her yarn, so I'm like, oh, okay. So I got a couple things. So this one is a sock yarn. This is her Chibi sock base, 80% merino, 20% nylon, and this is in the colorway Steampunk. Love it. And then I got 3 skeins of this. This is your DK sock. So this, what I like about this is these could be turned into socks. It is 85% merino, 15% nylon. It's in the colorway called Confetti. But again, with my design, kind of where I started was shawls. I love shawls, and I especially love a DK weight shawl. So I have a couple ideas of shawl patterns I like. So I don't know if it will work with the heavily speckled yarn or not, but I just thought, okay, I want to play with these and I love this color, so I'm just going to get 3 of them and have a nice big DK shawl. So that is my acquisitions. Yeah. So again, a lot of socks. A lot of socks gonna be happening. But I'm okay with it. I feel good and I'm excited to be using this stuff. So now that we're done with acquisitions and you saw all that yarn come in, let's see how I did for goals. All right, so goals. Let's talk November. My goals in November were to finish my Pure Joy, which I did in time, to finish my Flux, my second one, which I did at the very beginning of the month, to finish my design sock, solo sock, so I could get it into testing, and then to get the test knits up and running. So I actually completed all my knit goals for the month, which is awesome. My yarn in was 22 skeins. That makes my total for the year as of the end of November 185 skeins. My yarn out was 16 skeins, so that makes my total for the year 148 skeins. All right, so let's get into December. All my goals are to finish some things. So first of all, Woolens Nosh Advent socks, which should be very easy. I'm keeping up every day, and that'll give that extra week where I can finish off the toes, do a cut and heel, done. I really want to finish my lace and fade. That one hasn't been getting as much attention. No, there's not much left, but it requires me to actually do it. I'd like to finish the Snow Matter What. I'm a little nervous when it's going to come to all the attaching parts. Yeah, I would like to finish my fall Valentine socks, which is, again, almost done with knitting the second sock, and then I'll be finishing that off, cutting in the heel. And I'd like to finish my boots with the Fern sock because my goal was to release that in January. But honestly, if that doesn't get up right away, the test knits, are working up great. The sizing is great. I just want to get mine done so I can wash them and get some good pictures for release. So, but again, that is just a me. I don't have a date that they're coming out as of yet. And then the other one that I just thought of another one, and then it left my head literally that fast. There was something else I wanted to finish, and I've just forgotten it. Yeah, so we're going to go with that for now. If I think of it, I will put it in here. But yeah, so finish 2 pairs of socks, finish my Advent things, which is the Woolens Nosh socks, so really finish 3 pairs of socks, the Lace and Fade, the Snow Matter What project, and then start prepping for, sock. I need to think of a catchy name for my year of socks. I mean, I think everyone's thought of all good names for that, but I'm really excited to be knitting a lot of socks. I'll also be teaching quite a few sock classes at Arkansas Yarn Co. next year. Again, stay tuned for more information on that. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of socks. I still, want to knit my garments and stuff, but just like a few years ago, I switched to more garments instead of socks. Now I'm been craving socks so much, and design. And maybe that's why I'm craving the socks, because the design is using a lot of brain power, but I can cast on a vanilla sock and not think about it and make lots of progress without seemingly trying to. Just knitting round and round, especially if you alternate what project is in my purse and I'm waiting, or I go out to dinner. I always have that, and it's so easy and easy to take with you. So yeah, so I think that's it for today. Thank you for staying to the end if you're still here. I appreciate you a lot. And stay tuned to hear more about when I release my latest pattern. Excuse me. And if you're interested to see my very boring, I'm calling it my Let's Get Real December vlog. Then you can see that on my Instagram page on my reels. So if you want to watch that. I've been trying to throw some content in there, but like I said, a lot of days it's just, here's the beginning of day, here's my Lord of the Rings story, here's my color, here's the end of day. See ya. So it's Let's Get Real. It's bad lighting. It's full on rolled out of bed hair, and it is what it is, and that's what I'm kind of about. So I appreciate you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, liking, sharing, all the things. And I will see you in 2 weeks at the end of the year.